Petrila is the poor relative of the coal mining Jiu Valley, an already poor mono-industrial zone in central Romania. The valley is dying slowly together with the industry that sustained it. In Petrila, award-winner satirical cartoonist Ion Barbu refuses to give in. He wants his city to stay on the map. In 2005, he decided to go wild, deface the ugliness of the city. He summoned a handful of friends, journalists, artists, photographers, even a policeman, and organized a poetry guerrilla. In one night, the grey and dirty walls in Petrila have been embellished with verses of most famous Romanian poets written in graffiti. The mayor went mad and ordered a painting of all the defaced buildings, for the first time in his many successive mandates. Although nobody could say who the perpetrators were, Ion Barbu, the usual suspect, was summoned by the local police and sanctioned for unlawful writing of Romanian poetry on the walls. The anthology of Romanian poetry against the wall was awarded by the Civil Society Gala in 2008 as one of the best cultural projects. Marginea village in northern Romania is reputed for its black ceramics and the stubbornness of its people. In 2008, the floods washed away the bridge that linked the two halves of the village. The roads authorities came, shook their heads in sympathy and left, promising a new bridge. 8 months later, with no bridge in place, the villagers decided that enough was enough. They collected money locally for materials and got equipment from the local businesses. In just one day, the wooden bridge was proudly standing tall. Constructor, the Civil Society, read the billboards near the construction site. Were the road authorities happy? Well, not exactly. They filed a penal complaint with the prosecutor's office, accusing the villagers of illegal building. The bridge had no legal authorization and may be unsecure, the authorities said. The villagers are facing now 3 years in prison if found guilty. 3 years is not such a long time, said one of the builders. At least we did something good for ourselves. 2 months later, under the huge pressure of the media, civil society organizations and public opinion, the penal investigation has been stopped. Bucharest, the capital city of Romania, is nothing short of a driver's nightmare. Traffic jams, crowded streets and no decent parking facilities. And what to do when the local police banishes roadside parking on your street, leaving you with no parking option close to your home? Simply voice your discontent, loud and clear. Shall you write petitions? It takes forever to get an answer. Shall you ask for a meeting? No guarantee that you get it. Then speak to them in a language that they can understand. This was the strategy of the inhabitants of the Tei district in Bucharest, deprived of their parking lots. So they staged a most unusual protest, exercising their free movement rights. They crossed the street continuously, legally at a marked crossing, slowly taking their time, and in such a way that at any given time there were people on the street. According to the Romanian legislation, the drivers have to yield to pedestrians when crossing legally. What followed was a night to remember for the traffic police in Bucharest and a real concert of honks and whistles. Unfortunately, imaginative as it was, the protest remained without result. Nova Gorica, as the name says it, is a new Slovenian town. It was founded in 1948 and it is understandably looking for a prestige identity. Its university is even younger, set up in 1995. No wonder the city has proudly called itself University Town and went a long way to let people know it the minute they set foot in the city. But it appears that this student-oriented university has serious problems. The buildings are overcrowded and some of them are even unfit for teaching. The municipality postponed yielding ownership of the building to the school, and the issue of a new campus came to a screeching halt when the university was offered a land that was not really city property. In 2009, angered by the lack of commitment on behalf of the fathers of the city, the students decided to take the matters in their own hands. A plate for a plate was their mot de guerre. And each proud university town plate got a twin, saying, "Where's the university?" Slovenia gained its independence from Yugoslavia in 1992. This is when some 18,000 Slovenian citizens, mostly of a nationality other than Slovenian, found themselves missing from the official registries. They have been erased, without prior notice, without legal procedure. They lost not only their status, they lost their social benefits, their access to school or hospitals. 16 years and 2 favorable constitutional court rulings later, thousands of the erased are still waiting to see their rights restored. The state authorities are dragging their feet. A referendum in 2004 further complicated things. Only 30% of the population voted, but they overwhelmingly voted by 94% against the restoration of the erased's rights. In 2008, a private company specialized in communication, Studio Popor, decided that something had to be done in order to inform and educate the public. No means was spared, covering the house of the Ljubljana mayor with posters, displaying erased testimonials in bus stops, putting silhouettes in shop windows, stickers at the traffic lights, selling rubber bracelets. The campaign was entirely non-profit. The investments were made purely by the author's own funds and those of the supporters, and propelled by the unpaid work of numerous employees. This is Prague, the beautiful golden Prague with its unmistakable Baroque charm. And this is its National Library in the Clementium, dating from the time of the Jesuits. But there is a price for beauty and age. The library building became too crowded. And this is what the world-famous architect Jan Kaplitzky advanced as a project for a new library. The design won a tender and the city mayor publicly expressed his admiration. One day too soon, apparently, as the president Václav Klaus didn't like the project. "This is not going to be built," he said. People organized big protests. A few thousands gathered in the city of Prague, summoned there via the social network Facebook. Architect Jan Kaplitzky died in February 2009 without seeing a clear, promising outcome of this conflict. This is Łódź, one of the largest cities in Poland, also dubbed as the Polish Manchester for its explosive development brought about by the industrial era at the beginning of the 19th century. Travelers say there's a strange atmosphere in Łódź. Soviet architecture dominates some areas, streets are littered with cracks and potholes. Some may love this obsolete charm, however, certain people don't like it like that. This is why they decided to do something to shake up the people's sense of responsibility for their city's image, the low sensibility to the aesthetic issues. This is how the group of certain people, an informal group concerned by the quality of cityscape of Łódź, started the Points of Łódź project. The point is a sort of award for a new attitude toward the city's beauty. Almost anything can be awarded a point. People and cultural events can also receive points. The group also uses public events, unconventional humorous protests, and, at times, gently ridicules the authorities. According to their own manifesto, the group of certain people want to point out the problems and enjoy the whole process. Poland, the largest country in Central Europe. If you want to see how it looks like, you seek a map. But if you want to see how the ugly face of racism looks like in Poland, what do? You just check upon the map put together by the participants in the City Space project. City Space wants to educate the young in tolerance and prevent the exclusion of the minorities from civic life. They created a website that allows everybody to locate on a map the offensive graffiti they spotted and upload the pictures. The technology is so simple that even a child could use it. It is enough to take a photo with your mobile phone camera, then go to the main page of the project, point to the graffitis or posters' location on the map, and enter the photo in the project database. Not every graffiti defacing the buildings is accepted. The entries have to deal specifically with hate against ethnicity, race, religion, beliefs, or sexual orientation. While instrumented by 2 NGOs, Młodzi Wrocław and Project Polska, the real content of the project is provided by the hundreds of concerned citizens that refuse to remain passive in front of the proliferation of hate speech. The small city of Pezinok stays in the middle of its vineyards, just 20 kilometers off of Bratislava. It strives from its quality wines, agriculture and mountain sports in the Little Carpathians rising above it. The grape harvest festivities attract almost 200,000 people to Pezinok each year. And only 400 meters from the center of this almost bucolic little town, the central authorities approved the construction of a waste dump. One as big as 11.5 football pitches put together. Month after month, the residents and the city hall staged impressive protests, some attended by 4,000 people, almost a quarter of the local population. Representatives from other towns and villages joined as well, in solidarity with the residents of Pezinok. It was then when a citizen took the authorities to court, suing for his constitutional right to a healthy life. Assisted by an NGO lawyer, he fought all the way through a lawsuit that led up to the Supreme Court. He got satisfaction in May 2009, after the dump site had already been dug and truckloads of trash started to be deposited there. Sofia, the capital city of Bulgaria, has a nice, livable air about it. A friendly city all in all. But not this past January, when discontent citizens took to the streets to protest over the policies of the government. On January the 14th, 3,000 people gathered in front of the National Parliament. There were students, there were environmentalists, mothers and farmers. All of them had different reasons to be angry with the state. The protests were disrupted by extremists and turned ugly with violent police intervention. People were hurt, people were arrested, public and private property was damaged. The organizers seemed to have lost control over the protests. But who were they? Out of the 3,000, 2,000 came being mobilized via Facebook group. The protesting mothers have been summoned in the streets by BG Mama, the biggest internet forum of young mothers. 3 days later, another set of protests were called by a coalition of reputed NGOs. The protests went on orderly and peacefully. It is that just 500 people answered the call this time.